Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be with you here today as we officially begin this campaign for PGA Secretary. I've enjoyed getting to know many of you here, and I want to thank the New Jersey section here for hosting. I particularly want to thank Andy Brock for dialing up this Arctic blast that we had and we're all enjoying, so thank you, Andy, for that. I know many of you well by virtue of my many years of service to the PGA. And I met some of you for the very first time at the PGA Merchandise Show in Orlando. I've enjoyed our phone conversations in recent weeks, and I've learned a lot about you, what makes your sections work, what challenges you might be having, and maybe most importantly, how the PGA can assist you in meeting your goals and objectives and allow you to better serve your PGA members. I assure you that after we conduct business here this week, that I will continue to reach out to you and identify how we can work together to achieve great things locally, regionally, nationally, for the good of the game and for the good of our PGA professionals. I spent some time researching your sections, and I was struck by the long-standing traditions and successful programs that you've implemented over the years. They've been benefiting your PGA professionals and your golfers for a long, long time. But there's nothing new about that. We are in the cradle of the association. The PGA was founded in 1916 at the Martinique Hotel, just 17 miles from here. And most of the founding fathers that crafted our association's first constitution represented your sections. PGA greats like Robert White, our first PGA president, Jim Barnes, our first PGA champion, John McDermott, James R. Thompson, and Jack Hobins, just to name a few. The main objectives at that time were the same as they are today: to protect the interest and the livelihood of our PGA professionals, to promote teaching and enjoyment of the game, and additionally, and maybe more importantly at that time, the association was founded to provide playing opportunities for our PGA professionals. Rodman Wanamaker provided the championship trophy, the same one that we have today, and $2,500 in prize money for that first PGA championship, and we were on our way. This foundation of playing and teaching remains at the core of our great association, and nearly 100 years later, your sections still serve as role models for all the sections across our country. Some of you may not know this, but I'm from New England. I got my PGA membership as a member of the New England section. And my first experience with golf was with my father. We played at a 9-hole daily fee course in Bar Mills, Maine, and I was immediately hooked on the game, the sights, the sounds, and the smells that come along with it. Growing up in southern Maine, as you may know, meant very short seasons, but plenty of time to plot my mastery of my next trip to the golf course under the watchful eye of my dad and also several PGA members. I worked for these men as well, returning each summer after school, and my love for the game and the business grew every year. Golf reinforced, to me, the strong values that were taught by my parents, my grandparents: hard work, honesty, patience, persistence, and preparation. They were rewarded most of the time. I learned there were no shortcuts in golf or in life, and that I could accomplish anything I wanted to, as long as I believed and I worked hard to achieve it. Golf became and still is a part of me, and it really has helped shape who I am today. Although I enjoyed many sports growing up, I ran track and I wrestled in high school, and I was a member of the state championship 4x400 relay team in college, I always knew I would get in the golf business. I entered the PGA Apprentice program just after my junior year abroad at the University of Edinburgh in Scotland, just before my senior year at Bates College. After graduating, my first big break was when I got a job working for Marriott Golf at Sable Oaks Golf Club in South Portland, Maine. I was lucky enough to get winter work at the Marriott World Center under the guidance of Tony Austin in Orlando, and it was there that I met my wife, Tracy, and we've been married now 20 years. My Marriott experience prepared me well for my first head golf professional job at Ipswich Country Club at the age of 25. As you might expect, a Jacksonville girl, my wife Tracy, she wasn't really fond of the New England winters, and it wasn't long thereafter that we returned to Jacksonville where she grew up. After a brief attempt at playing the Tommy Armour Tour in Orlando, I realized that playing golf was not my strongest suit, and I landed a great job at Sawgrass Country Club. I taught an awful lot there at Sawgrass, and eventually I landed the head golf professional position in 1997. In 2000, I took the director of golf position at Newark Country Club, another fine club in Jacksonville. And I stayed there until 2003, when Tracy and I purchased Hidden Hills Country Club, and I've managed that club ever since. And I'm proud to say that we've taken a club that was struggling and in receivership, and we transformed it into a vibrant family club that it is today. I believe my diverse background and my experience at different facility types allows me to really relate to the needs of our broad spectrum of PGA members across the country. And I believe I can serve them very, very well. My 17 years of continuous leadership on the chapter, section level, national committees, and the Board of Control have prepared me well to lead our association for the next 8 years. I've always strived to identify the needs of our members and work to create opportunities for them. I'm a good listener, I'm a problem solver, and I have a proven track record of success. I know how to build consensus and how to take the lead on matters that are sound and will positively impact our members in the association. I'm not afraid to make tough decisions. During my 4-year term on the Board of Control, I ruled on over 1,400 cases. I served with some of the best and brightest PGA professionals in the country, and I worked closely with each of our current national officers. And while we didn't always agree, we worked well together. We figured out how each of us worked, and we never lost focus on what was most important: protecting the interests of our association, adhering to our Constitution and bylaws, and doing our very, very best to serve the needs of our PGA members. My experience on the Board of Control had a lasting and profound impact on me. It provided me detailed, inside views of the operations of our association, membership, apprentices, employment, education, legal, constitutional, and particularly how they related to our members' interests. This experience has been the driving factor in my decision to begin this quest to serve you and our members as your next PGA Secretary. I'm humbled by the prospect of serving our great association as your Secretary, and I'm ready to work, roll up my sleeves, and work with section leaders, the Board of Directors, and staff. My years of service have provided some clarity for me as to the future direction of our association. But first, we must all remember that the game of golf is just as strong, it's just as beautiful as it's always been. The business of golf, however, is in decline, and we must work harder than ever before to set the stage for long-term success. I will work hard for you to implement innovative, forward-thinking ideas that are tempered with a sound business-minded approach. And I will always focus on the elements, the key elements of my platform, which are growth, opportunity, leadership, and our future. One thing that was instilled in me at an early age was that in order to reach our full potential, we must challenge ourselves every single day. In order for PGA professionals to hold the moniker of being the experts in the game in the business of golf, we must inspire them. We must inspire them to seek the knowledge, the skills, and the training that's necessary to be, as Secretary Libby once quipped, the MVP at their facilities. Equally important is that PGA members and apprentices understand that revenue producers, those who grow business at their facilities, control their own destiny. Those who grow the game not only play their part in developing the future of our sport, but they provide value to their employers and they solidify their own job security. They become responsible for their own careers, their own career advancement, and they drive their own compensation. I would think that most in this room would agree that growing the game is vital to our long-term success. Our PGA professionals are association in the game. Sadly, in the last 10 years, we've lost 5 million golfers. We've seen rounds of golf decline by tens of millions. Revenues have declined. And golf course closures have outpaced openings for more than 10 years. Despite our best intentions with Play Golf America, Golf 2.0, we have not been able to stem the tide of losses. Growth in golf simply has not occurred. While many golf pundits, industry experts, and even some in our own ranks have exclaimed that the golf business will never again see the success that it had in its glory years, I respectfully disagree. I'm confident that we can all, once again, enjoy the benefits of a growing, vibrant golf economy. However, growth in our industry cannot come from just the people in this room. It can't come just from our officers or our board. It can't just come from the talented idea people in Palm Beach Gardens. It cannot come in the form of another program, and some have been very good, mind you, another program driven down from headquarters or a PSA aired during the PGA Championship. The seeds of growth must be planted locally. They must be nurtured by passionate rank-and-file PGA professionals who've been given the tools and the resources to cultivate and grow our game. And you know what? We're starting to see some successes. Several turnkey player development initiatives like Get Golf Ready, PGA Junior Golf League, Drive, Chip, and Putt, and Tee It Forward are gaining traction. And we're starting to create new golfers. But we can't stop there. We must continue to introduce alternative golf programming that will appeal to those who say golf is too hard, it's too expensive, uninviting, it takes too long, or it's simply boring. Alternative golf activities like 9 is Fine, foot golf, top golf, recreational and social golf that incorporate it's okay rules. We need to let the golfing public know that it's okay to play 3, 6, or 12 holes of golf, and that you're still a golfer even if you just hit balls on the practice range once in a while. And finally, we must do everything we can to introduce the game to youngsters. We need to get clubs in their hands at an earlier age, and we need to get into elementary schools. We need to get into middle schools. Many PGA professionals are doing it. Many sections are doing it, like Colorado, Missouri, and New Jersey. They're having success at it. They're introducing the game to thousands of kids, and along the way, you know what they're doing? They're bringing families into the game as well. They're driving revenues to their facilities, and they're building for our future. Just as growing the game is important, we need to grow our PGA professionals. We need to deliver all the resources, all the opportunities that we can to help them expand their horizons, enhance their skills, and drive revenue and value to their facilities. I want to continue the great strides that we've made in opening dialogue with our executive directors through the recently formed ED conference calls and a very successful ED conference down at the PGA Merchandise Show in Orlando. With ever-changing section boards, the ED is that important, constant thread, and in most cases, the individual who's best equipped to offer insight on how the sections work, how they're performing, and how we may better deliver opportunities to the PGA professionals that reside there. As your secretary, it will be my mission to continue to nurture this relationship on behalf of our members, and I will listen carefully. I will work with our board in specific committees. I'll work on channeling more resources down to our sections, down to our PGA golf professionals, and offer valuable opportunities to raise the game for those PGA professionals that we serve. Programs like education and mentoring are close to my heart. We need to do a better job of sharing PGA best practices. We need to focus more on employment, reestablishing mentoring orientations. Those used to be in every one of our sections. That's how I started in this business. I got my membership orientation before I got my card. I believe we need to reinstitute the President's Council and really recognize and celebrate the best and the brightest PGA professionals that are doing their part to grow the game. Very importantly to me is that we need to create online education opportunities that are career-specific, they're affordable, and they're meaningful to our PGA professionals. These programs will directly and positively impact our members, ultimately enhance their success, their marketability, and their employment opportunities. One of the most important things that I will do and demonstrate as your next secretary is to show you that I have your back. There's nothing more important than the well-being of our PGA members and that game that we love. We need to do a better job of listening to the voices, listening carefully to the voices of our PGA members, and I am an excellent listener. I will ask our members what they need to be better at their jobs, to be happier in their lives, and in doing this, we're going to be able to map out our strategic plans better and create a unified front with more buy-in from all of our 28,000 PGA professionals. We need to utilize cutting-edge technology to deliver information and solicit feedback. Very important, solicit feedback. We need to do a better job of utilizing and really taking a close look at membership surveys. 97+% of our PGA members and apprentices use PGA Links. That is an excellent tool for us, and we're retooling it as we speak. We need to send more e-blasts. We need to get more versed in PGA Connect. Face-to-face interaction is always so very important. Section, town hall meetings, and open forums need to continue to be focused on and pushed by our sections. And my commitment to you is I will visit all 41 sections at least once during my 8-year term. Last week in Jacksonville, I was fortunate to get Steve Mona. He's the Chief Executive Officer of the World Golf Foundation to make a presentation to our North Florida PGA professionals. And he focused on, as we always do recently, the state of the industry. And he shared much of the same observations that we have made. He identified some of the obstacles that are hindering our success, and he highlighted opportunities for growth. But a few things that he said really struck a chord with me. And one was that we're all in this together. All of the participants in this nearly $70 billion industry, the golf facilities, the allied associations, the manufacturers, and others must work together to build for the future. He also clearly stated that the PGA professionals, the PGA of America, is going to be the entity that leads us into the future. I will work with you and on your behalf to lead this charge to better identify what our PGA members need, what our owners want, and what our consumers demand, so that we may do a better job of meeting the desires of the marketplace and drive, once again, the business of golf. I'm a proud member of the PGA for the last 22 years, and I'm a PGA member first. But my background as a club manager and a course owner gives me a very unique perspective on this industry. And it's clear to me that collaborative efforts are vital to our future success. I will work hard to cultivate existing relationships with allied associations and allied partners and maximize the strength of our PGA brand to forge new alliances with strategic partners. I'll strive to inspire our PGA professionals and develop programs that'll do so and challenge them to be the best they can be and to move the needle for the good of the game and for their own good. I will do my very best to institute programming that will better celebrate and promote the great game to the public so that they may fall in love with it just like we did when we were kids. I appreciate you listening, and I look forward to getting to know all of you better this week. I am ready, I'm willing and able to lead. I'm excited to get to work, and I hope to earn your vote in November. Thank you very much, and I'm pleased now to take any questions from the floor. Thank you. Any questions?
Good morning, Russ. Thank you for being here, as well as the other candidates. We've certainly enjoyed meeting you guys and hearing your stories. The collaboration that you just spoke about, last night you mentioned that you're a CMA member, I believe, and what have you done locally with your club at Hidden Hills to sort of start that trend of meeting the other allied associations?
Well, actually, that's very important to us as Hidden Hills. It's important for our business. It's important for marketing. And so as a single entity, as a single club, it's something I work very hard at. And not just the CMAA, but local Rotary. We actually host a Rotary weekly at our club. We're a member of the Chamber. We really try to get involved with the activities of Jacksonville and what's going on business-wise. As far as the club managers and also the golf course owners, I actually was a committee chair of an entity a few years back that brought together head golf professionals, golf course superintendents, managers, and club owners, and we call it the golf course operators. And it was really right there from Jacksonville, the local leaders of our community, mostly golf industry leaders. And what we did is we would meet quarterly. We discussed the affairs of our association, some of the obstacles, some of the opportunities for growth, and really more than anything, it was an idea sharing. And that was a very small scale activity that I was proud to chair. I did it for 3 years. But it's a small scale version of what I intend to do and really build on the successes that we've had with our current leaders and past leaders. Any other questions? I think we've got 25 minutes. Larry?
Russ, I asked this question to the other candidates regarding ADP funding. I don't expect you to tell us all the sections how to spend it, but specifically in your section, how do you recommend that you spend it in your section?
Well, to your point, Larry, I believe very strongly that each section has to make those decisions. And there's nobody, there's no entity that knows their sections more than the section leader is the executive director. In North Florida, I will share with you that ADP funding, that increase in funding, was a game changer for us. In the last few years, we've struggled financially to make ends meet. And for us, along with our mission, it's, again, focusing on the well-being of our members and trying to do more opportunities, focusing on employment. Now, we're lucky that we have an employment consultant in Mike McCollum that serves all of Florida, but that's a big area for us. Employment is vital. An area that really, as I said earlier, is near and dear to my heart is focusing on educational opportunities, mentoring opportunities. I will say this, too. Our staff, many of our staff in that office at Reunion have not had raises in many, many years. So part of the funding there went to try and help the people that have been serving our association for a long time. Any other questions? Please. Charlie?
Russ, as both a club manager and a course owner, we see an awful lot of headhunting services being advertised in those two industries or by those two industries for club managers or golf professionals using placement services. PGA obviously is got their platinum service. How do you feel about placement as being a opportunity or a responsibility of the PGA of America?
Well, Charlie, that's a good question. And I've had a lot of dialogue with PGA members in my phone calls over the last couple of months. And employment is a very sensitive matter. And it's a very regional thing, too. I find that different pockets of the country have different views on it. I think that our association is obligated to try and get PGA representation and really work on getting the best PGA professionals that they can at each of our facilities across the country, about 12,000 facilities. The Platinum program is $5,000, and we also have the free service. And it seems like most of the free services are taken advantage of. We have 12 employment consultants. I think they're spread very, very thin. I think we need to take a close look at the jobs that they're doing. They're very talented individuals. And I'm actually very close with Mike McCollum in the Florida region. But I feel, as far as employment goes, that we're a little bit reactive, Charlie. And I think that we need to do a little more time reaching out to owners and operators and really trying to identify what they need what they're looking for in PGA professionals. We did this a few years back, and we continue to work on it. I know that Derek had a presentation to the Club Managers Association not so long ago. So what I was getting at earlier, we need to continue to cultivate those relations. We need to bring them to the table and really identify, and we need to talk. We need to talk, we need to listen, and identify what we need. I have no problem with some of these outside entities. I believe in letting the marketplace do what it does. And if they're going through different channels and different funnels to get jobs at different facilities, I'm all for that. Do I think that the PGA can do a better job? Yes. And I think we should look at it very closely. Thank you. Tom?
Very good presentation, Russ.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Appreciate it.
You said that the Board of Control experienced the 1,400 cases that you sat on was a very compelling for where you are. What vacuum did you find, or what did you see in all those cases that you felt from that experience that the association is missing or lacking in delivering services to our members?
That's a great question, and I appreciate you asking me, because as I said, it really made a very lasting impact on me, that whole experience. From an emotional standpoint, we are ruling on cases for these members and apprentices that are really impacting their lives. And as I said, we did everything we could to serve them the best that we could, but still abide and protect the association. And I'll come back to your question here. I don't mean to end run it. But the first thing I did when I got off the Board of Control was go back to my local chapter president and ask to be involved with education and mentoring. And those are the areas that I felt that we really were lacking. I felt like there were so many cases that came that were presented to us by apprentices. They were having trouble in 8 years finishing the program. We're having problems with PGA members that were having a hard time fulfilling their MSR requirements. And I really truly felt like there was that disconnect. And I felt like we needed to do all that we could on local levels. And you're going to hear this a lot from me. We'd have to focus on this locally, to reach out and do everything we can to pull them in, to sit down with them, to talk to them, get their feedback. And really, I'm really proud to say that's what I've done for the last 3 years on the local level. So those are two big areas: education and mentoring, and just really pulling everybody into the fray. We're back up to 28,000 members and apprentices now. I don't know if you heard that or not, but we've got a lot of people to pull into the fray, and we may not get everybody, but I felt importantly that was an observation. And then the other thing too is, and maybe even more so since I've come off the Board of Control, the number of code of ethics cases that are coming to the Board of Control, I would say that there's probably more in the last 2 years than I saw in all of my 4 years. That's a concerning thing for me, and the overall morality, some of the challenges that we're seeing across the country right now, it's worrisome. And I think we need to do a better job of lending a helping hand and really reaching out to all the members and apprentices. Thanks.
Russ, I'd like you to going to ask the question that I asked you in the private session, just so my fellow leaders and delegates you can share the opinion of. What, in your personal view, of the PGA Championship potentially moving abroad, and the thought of making Valhalla a permanent site, and also your view and opinion and the assurance of the PGA Championship, the spots for our members going into our future on the playing side?
Well, the North Florida PGA, I'm going to go in reverse, Steve, but the North Florida PGA hosted the annual meeting at Amelia Island when I was president, and that's when we saw spots go down to the current 20. And I believe wholeheartedly, very strongly, I'm not as good a player as many of you in this room, but we need to protect those spots, and we need to do that at all costs. I've done a little research on the PGA Championships and the economic impact to the local communities, both economic and the social. You saw up at Oak Hill this year, all the tour wives and PGA professionals built a house for a gentleman that was in need. But getting back to the economic impact, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars that are going to those local communities, and that's by virtue of hosting these PGA championships. I believe strongly that the PGA championships need to stay in America. We are the PGA of America, and I believe that our championship needs to stay in this country. Unless somebody can convince me otherwise, and there may be those that try, my stance right now is that we should stay right here. The other thing that I really loved about going to Oak Hill was the tradition and the history of that property, and you could feel it in the air. So I like the fact that we rotate to some of the best facilities historically, traditionally, that we've seen in the country. I'm excited about the fact that we're going to Valhalla. I'm also excited the fact that we're going to Baltusrol. I like the fact that we move it around. I think it keeps it fresh and exciting. And for the golfing public, too, I think that's a positive thing. Thanks, Steve.
Russ, the idea about a permanent home at Valhalla for the Ryder Cup is also on Steve's question.
Well, I think maybe to the same point, I like the fact that we rotate these venues. And I think it's exciting. Where's the Ryder Cup going to be the next time we host it? Where's it going to be when it's in Europe? And I will say this, being that the Ryder Cup does float, it does move overseas back and forth, maybe that is an opportunity for us to look at moving the Ryder Cup to China on a neutral ground for the United States, for Europe. So if we're looking at trying to create an event that's a global event, maybe the Ryder Cup is a better fit there. But I don't think I'm in favor of keeping it in one place. Tom?
Thanks. Hey, Russ. To no one's big surprise, the Boston Consulting Group indicated that we need to change the face of our membership in order to attract the next generation of Americans to the game. Now, do you have any specific ideas on how you could foster diversity within our membership?
There's no doubt that we have to work harder at that. 20% of our golfers are women, minorities, and even kids. We need to do a better job there of getting more kids into the game. Some of the things, I've spoken with Pete Bavacco about this, and I think we're starting to do that. We're starting to really work hard on that outreach. For years and years, when we ran our PSAs on the joys of golf and the life skills and all the benefits that come along with golf, where do we do it? Well, we did it during the PGA Championship. And we targeted all the people that were, in most cases, already playing golf. One thing that I learned recently is that golf spectators and golf fans, the total number, is at an all-time high. We have more people watching golf, more people at spectator events than ever before. And yet here we are, we're struggling to get players into the game. So I believe there's opportunities. I truly do. Some of what Pete shared, which I believe he shared in San Diego, some of our alliances now with some of these mogul media giants, targeting different venues like Telemundo to try and really cultivate the game and cultivate the playing of golf for minorities. Targeting specific channels like Lifetime to try and get women more interested in the game. So I think that's a big thing. I'm going to get back to what I said too. Golf should have a face that shares the face of our country. And I really feel strongly too, I don't know if you've seen the edition of SI for Kids, a great piece that goes out to 4.8 million kids. And there's an insert this month on the PGA Junior Golf League. Never done it before. SI for Kids, Time for Kids, great opportunities for us to do that outreach. And so I think that type of program needs to exist. The other thing that excites me is the PGA Tour venturing into Latin America and having the tour series there. We're seeing it in Asia. I mean, those are great things, and as you know, we're a big partner of the PGA Tour. Thanks. I hope I answered that well, Tom. Donnie?
At the end of your 6-year tenure, what would your hope be for the biggest change in your town? I'm sorry. At the end of your 6-year tenure as our leader, what would you hope the biggest difference would be?
Well, I think first and foremost, Donnie, I hope to look back and see that we've started to see growth, and we've started to see the business of the game start to move forward. I'm worried about the game. That's part of the reason why I'm doing this. As an owner and as somebody that's passionate about golf and passionate about the PGA, we have got to move that needle, and we've got to do everything within our power to do that. As far as our PGA members, you know, as I said earlier, I want to inspire them to get more involved. I want more unified front from all so that we can really do that. I believe a lot of our successes are going to come locally, and we can't just push these things down from headquarters. It's got to be recognized that we need to do better, and there needs to be that inspiring moment. There needs to be that moment that we all look back and said, that's when it happened. And I intend to be part of that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We've still got 9 minutes. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it.